Hi, everybody. This is day 1550. 1550 days since Richard was. Hold on. Let me make sure I'm doing this right. Okay. Was premeditatedly murdered on Fort Bliss. Christ is King. Christ is King. I was watching that about uh, Kamala Harris in Wisconsin. And of course, Wisconsin has played a role, believe it or not, in our son's case. So I'm curious about Wisconsin, and make sure I plug this in. It's so late, y'all. We're gonna be burning the midnight oil, and so it came up that Kamala was at a college there, I guess, doing a rally in the auditorium, and talking about unspeakable things to the most vulnerable humans, the most vulnerable, something that I think we take for granted. And I think it's going to come a time where there's going to be a lot of gnashing of teeth because of hurting blessings that come our way. But anyway, they were talking about it, and I am talking about abortion. To it's I'm Christian. I'm Christian, and um, yes, I'm against it. I think they're the most vulnerable, and you know, um, they shouldn't suffer a consequence because of their. Yeah, God's gonna have to work all that out. But I just think it's so evil, what they want to do, and it's a big result from incest. Um, that's not me saying that. That's all over in the news. Uh, the want for that procedure, a big part of it, not 100%, but a big part of it is because of the problem with incest. And we know that, um, well, my husband's in the medical field. It's his job to know these things. Um, but we know in Richard's case with Leilani Hart, and let me see if I can play these tunes um, that I put together. I know I'm all over the place because it's just been a crazy day. And I want to, let's see if I can bring that up. Hmm. Um, but we know through Leilani Hart that her first confession was a notarized affidavit. Um, well, I don't know if that's her first confession. I'm sure she's had more, but one of her confessions is a notarized affidavit where she confesses that her family hasn't been engaged in that, and for a long time, and we have other evidence that corroborates that, and that's why we have made that public. Um, she's made that public. Um, she was bragging about that notarized affidavit. Um, she was bragging about her access to a CID agent, her family member that she was giving sexual favors to. in order to get information and tamper with files in our son's case. And yeah, so when I saw the rally where Kamala Harris I think she's committed a crime because that is a public sphere, a public space, and that is no place for a hate crime. And I believe that was a hate crime against Christians, against Christians' belief and reverence for life, starting at conception. Um, it's really amazing because we believe that life starts at conception, and so that's our belief as a Christian, and I think that should be respected. Um, we have that right in this country. So I know I sound a little somber because you know why I sound a little somber? Because when she was talking about that and committing that, I believe, hate crime against Christians, there were college students and others in the audience just cheering on. Now, coming from a German family, a long German history, all my grandparents are German, and my Oma having to suffer, my mother having to suffer, so many of my family having to suffer through World War II, and, a fascist dictator, um, and, hate crimes. To see them suffering, knowing what they suffered through, knowing what the country suffered through, um, the destruction, the absolute destruction of the environment, of nature, of families, of humans, of um, the psyche, the psyche, and having a lot of those residuals still there. You just can't get um, past the abuse, the abuse that you went through easily. Germany absolutely is an amazing country. I love Germany. Um, it's interesting that Richard was born in Gliwice, Poland, which was once upon a time Germany, right? Very interesting. But to see the hate crime and to see people cheering it on, the cheering it on, they should have all booed her. Every one of them should have for the hate crime, and to see the laughing. That's why I'm very somber. I think it's a national security threat. I think she's absolutely has committed a major crime, a major hate crime, and it makes me think that if people on that side of things, on that side of incest, protecting incest, because everyone, especially in politics, knows that if you, um, are supporting abortion, a big part of that is supporting those that suffer through incest. Um, and I know that sounds so radical, but that's not me. That's just go and read the news. Go and read what's going on with P. Diddy. That's a huge part of this whole P. Diddy thing. It's this whole sex cult thing. It talk about radical. They're so radical. I mean, for goodness sake, you have a colonel, you have officers in the military wearing doggy masks in these sex cults. Um, and this is a big part of Richard's case because these sex cults demand more and more and more degradation, or um, they just want to get worse and worse and worse, and then you have child sex trafficking, right? And they're mostly dead, 500,000. So this is, you know, and to find out, to have this common denominator, that a Mormon congregation would be behind it, and them not address this problem in El Paso, and with, because we've notified them, and they haven't addressed this with us, and with Richard's case. I you know Why not? Why not? Multiple wives, multiple husbands, sex cult issues, um, being involved in the premeditated murder of a Fort Bliss whistleblower, Richard Halliday, who was reporting on the criminal, including child trafficking. Come on. Why aren't they rallying around Richard? And to see the hate crime, not just by Kamala, but by the cheering crowd and those who were pushing and prodding these Christians. It makes me wonder, because the CID, in order to tamper with the case, to mislead us, one of the very first things they told us was Richard wasn't a Christian. Because they had, already over a month to go through our social media, we're very transparent. And they absolutely knew that we were a devoted Christian family. And so when they said that to us, I don't think they were expecting my response. I don't know what they think Christians are. But I told them, I don't care. This is my son. This is my young son. This is my son. I don't care. Where is he? And what does that mean to you? Are you framing him or targeting him because he's a Christian? Are you targeting him because he's a Christian? Did they target Richard because he's a Christian? Because he lied to us to our face, even though we said we didn't care, and we didn't care. I mean, of course we care, but we don't care when he's missing, when he's murdered, when he's code red murdered. When it comes to law enforcement, it's none of their business. What is important is that they have a soldier that needs to be found. Where are his remains? Where are Richard's remains? That's what's important. And did they target him because he's a Christian? And did they target him, as over his case, and deem him unimportant? Because that is exactly how we felt what they were doing. That they were, labeling him as not worthy to be looked for, that his remains were not worthy. And I've said that over and over and over again. And so now to find out that, you have the cartel involved, and the cartel is involved. The cartel is Matter of fact, there's no authority in the criminal judicial system or the law enforcement system there in El Paso. They have a real problem because the DA, Bill Hicks, is a usurper. He has no authority. You know, if you want to be a doctor, you have to have a certificate, right? You have to have a degree. You have to have proof that you've passed your tests, that you've had your training. You don't want just anyone coming and cutting on you, giving you medicine, whatever. But this is Bill Hicks. He has no authority, zero authority to be a prosecutor in the 34th Judicial District Attorney's Office. The duly elected, holdover, proper prosecutor is Yvonne Rosales. And that's whether she wants to be there or not. Because there's no gaps allowed, no absences allowed. It's her duty. It's her duty just like anyone else's duty when they serve, when they sign their name to serve. Whether I like it, whether you like it or not, it doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter with the CID and the Army. If they didn't like Richard because he was a Christian, and I've always felt that they targeted him, and that's a hate crime. And to see the level of the hatred for Christians at a rally, at a presidential public forum rally by the Vice President of the United States, I think she committed a hate crime, and I think she needs to be arrested. And it just tells you that, okay, yes, the cartel is, Rene, Luis Rene Diaz. He's in the DA office. Then you have the DPS, Texas Ranger. That is supposed to be investigating Richard's case, right? And it's a long story why a Texas Ranger was assigned to, we're telling you, we have a lot of support. We have a lot of institutional support going on with ongoing investigations and from Washington, because the El Paso, why it took so long is because the El Paso is infiltrated with the cartel. That Gustavo Sanchez, was, compromised by the cartel as a Texas Ranger. And we have more because we have the whole MAG court, the El Paso Criminal Law Magistrate Court, totally compromised and has no authority at all. Has no authority. And of course, the chief medical examiner, who makes over $430,000 a year. And, he's totally compromised. He's illegal. He has no authority to be in that position. And he's a judicial officer. So it's more the El Paso Police Department, the El Paso ISD. Yeah, even the Independent School District is involved in this and has been compromised by the cartel. And it's not a secret. They want it to be a secret, but it's not a secret because the drug and human trafficking and weapons and arms trafficking is billions and billions of dollars. Someone told me it's $60 billion a year right in that area. $60 billion. Oh my, it's so much money. And they just throw out these huge amounts of money, figures, and people just glaze over. They just, their eyes start swirling because they can't wrap their heads around that much money. It's nearly impossible. When you think about $37 trillion in debt, your eyes go like this because that's so much money. We should be, all living in time warp houses where you can travel through. You don't even need to get in a car, and you have gold roads, and or you know I don't know, you're eating the finest of the finest of the finest foods. I mean, that kind of money is just unimaginable. Or you can just imagine uh, that kind of wealth, what that buys. And we're in that debt, and we have broken roads and we have a broken system, because it looks like our debt is really just thievery, right? Larceny of the heart. So today was interesting because we've been really thinking about our safety, and we've been thinking about our safety for a long time. We've reported that we're in danger, that we have had our lives threatened. And now, when people know that the cartel are involved in this, um, it's like, oh my gosh, you must be in real danger. And I think we have a national security danger going on right now. It looks like. Sorry, I wanted to see comments. I forgot to put it on. Absolutely, there's a national security um, threat to all of us and our family members. And I think that is the threat is comes from being infiltrated, being compromised by a foreign organization, a foreign criminal organization, and it is intertwined. I can tell you this right now, it's intertwined by the congregation, the Mormon congregation there in Juarez, Mexico, and El Paso, that area, because it goes into New Mexico also, up to Albuquerque. So that area, that Mormon congregation needs to be very worried, because the infiltration of the cartel is with them. I'm sure it's other places, but in Richard's case, it's with them. And so let's talk about Tavita Newsom. Let's see if I can share, you know, um, this Bob Moore and Leilani Hart, and Tavita Newsom, Leilani Hart, and Dallas Hart, Leilani Hart, and Joe Spencer and Leilani Hart. I'm going to make another meme with Joe Spencer and Leilani Hart, because Joe Spencer is really coming into the news now, um, with uh, with the Walmart mass shooting, kind of on a precipice. The whole the whole case is on a precipice. They know that it is absolutely botched, and Joe Spencer has been collecting what, like $5 million one year, $3 million one year, $3 million. He is just, this is like a money grab for him, and it's so criminal. It's just absolutely criminal, when he knew all along that this case was botched, because his client has a severe mental health condition. He has autism. There's multiple shooters in the case. His rights have been violated because he was magistrated by a court that has no authority, that by someone that doesn't have any authority, where, you know, you can't even call them a judge because they don't have the authority to even be a judge, right? And 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 he was arraigned through that, just like Richard was, um, uh, brought into this unlawful situation. And so for Patrick Crusius, and his serious crime, along with others, because there are, in my opinion, other shooters that are at large that are walking around that need to be arrested, but because Joe Spencer, all he cared about was collecting the money and dragging this on, politicizing this case and dragging it on. Um, you know, who knows if any of those that were involved in 2019 were involved in Richard's case in 2020. And if any of the guns that were involved in 2019 were involved in Richard's case in 2020. So this is, it's such a dereliction of duty. It's it's just so wrong. And I'm going to leave it to the lawyers to bring this all up in court. And I really believe that Joe Spencer, and all what he has done, and it's going to come out, we're going to notify everyone about all his up to no good list, the up to no good list for Joe Spencer, because it is shocking. And he really, in my opinion, I can just give you a little heads up, it's arrestable offenses. These are arrestable offenses. So, and to see that the cartel leaders are being arrested, that should tell people that there is support going on. Things are happening. And let me see if I can bring this up with Tavita and see if I can play it. I'm so bad at this. Okay, wait a minute. Let me see. I want to make sure I play this right. I got it. Oh, okay. So let me turn the audio on. There. Okay. And Leilani Hart, Tavita Nusa, what have you done covering up crimes under the forklift sun? They changed the files to hide their shame, to shield their hands from bearing the blame. Richard Holiday was a threat to their lives, so they tampered the records to quiet the cries. A cover-up to protect their own in the shadows. They hope to stay unknown. Leaders watched but didn't lift a hand, while Richard Holiday slipped through the sand. Then Dallas Hart stood in Richard's place, and betrayal lived in every hidden face. Leilani Hart, Tavita Nusa, what have you done covering up crimes under the forklift sun? They changed the files to hide their shame, to shield their hands from bearing the blame. Richard Holiday was a threat to their lives, so they tampered the records to quiet the cries. A cover-up to protect their own in the shadows. They hoped to stay unknown. Okay, and let's see if I can play the other one.
In the streets of El Paso, whispers fill the air. of the murdered Fort Bliss soldier. Code red is rare. Convicted Leilani Hart, she trespasses everywhere. Brags and reports her family's illicit affairs. In Richard's case, Leilani lies and lies, trying to silence whistleblowers, trying to hide the crime. El Paso Matters published Leilani's fake storyline. Bob Moore did embed his source, published her lies to turn the public away from hearing Richard Holliday's cries. Richard Holliday, a soldier, distinguished honor graduate, carried the unit guide on. He was so great, trained to be CID. The whistleblower spark exposed Leilani and Dallas Hart, where cartel dealings leave their mark, and laid Fort Bliss to the Walmart mass shooting. Oh no, in Richard's case, Leilani lies and lies, trying to silence whistleblowers, trying to hide the crime. El Paso Matters published Leilani's fake storyline. Bob Moore did embed his source, published her lies to turn the public away from hearing Richard Holliday's cries.
Okay. I have both of them. And of course, they're both just parts of a song, but I have them both up. If you want to share them, that would be really appreciative, because I think people can understand when they see Leilani Hart's face beside Bob Moore's face of El Paso Matters, of El Paso Community Foundation, that and they're tampering and they're plotting and they're lying and weaponizing the media. And then to see Leilani Hart's face next to Tavita Nusez, a CID agent. He lost his badge, though. He did lose his badge before December of 2020. We know that now with the evidence that we have. Before 2020, December 2020, he lost his badge. But he was feeding her information from the Fort Bliss CID office, and tampering with the files. So you have, let's say, weaponizing the CID office. So weaponizing El Paso Matters, the media, weaponizing the CID office, and others. You're going to find out that they've weaponized others, that we pay for. These are our taxes. I think that they need to pay us restitution. I think all El Pasoans need to get restitution. When they have charged you taxes and property taxes and have taken your rights away to your judges, taken your rights away to have this huge gap in the district attorney's office of a legitimate district attorney, when they have taken your rights away and given you an illegal chief medical examiner, and then to allow the breach of security for the cartel to come in to the El Paso Police Department, to allow the breach of security to come into Fort Bliss, to allow the breach of security for the cartel to come into the El Paso Independent School District, and on, to allow the breach of security for cartel to infiltrate and compromise the Texas Rangers. Um, it's on and on. I think that every El Pasoan needs to receive restitution for, all the taxes that they have paid over all these years and have not received honest service for their money. I believe that. Absolutely. And these people are just so brazen and bold, they think that they can just, murder people and get away with it. That they can bully people and get away with it. That they can intimidate, they can threaten people and get away with it. And at the same time, rob you. Rob you while you're doing that. Rob you while they're taking away your precious children. They brutally murdered Richard. They forcibly took him out of his barracks room and brutally murdered him. And then, Tavita Nusa, he has surgical skills. He has access to surgical equipment. So not only do we have this whole situation with Chris Martin, but we have this whole situation with Tavita Nusa. And and of course Amber Chase, who Gustavo Sanchez was supposed to be investigating, right? And I don't know if why not? I mean, she is so vile and vulgar. She committed so many crimes in this case. She should absolutely be in handcuffs. She's a danger to El Paso. Just like Tavita Nusa and Leilani Hart. Leilani Hart is an absolute danger to any place that she goes. To any place that she goes, and so is Tavita Nusa. He absolutely, nothing is holy to him. And see, this is something that maybe other people don't understand about Christians. But there are things that are holy to us, set apart to be worshipped and revered. I think revered is very important. Reverence is a very important. Respected is really what I'm trying to say. Respected, revered, it's holy. We have garments that are holy, places that are holy. Our babies that are conceived in the womb are holy to us. That is a holy place. And, we revere it. We respect it. It's called reverence and respect, and, things that we have to handle very carefully. You can't just shoot a woman that's pregnant in the belly and kill her and her baby and say that's one murder. It's two murders. And that's how we also our laws for livestock are. And so for the irreverent, for that duty is not honored, that duty is not respected, that those workplaces, the uniform, be it a Texas Ranger uniform, be it a sheriff's uniform, be it El Paso Police Department, be it El Paso Independent School District's uniform, be it our military uniform, those are to be respected. And to have those infiltrated, to have those compromised, is the destruction of our country. It's a national security threat. And then to not respect most of the citizens, a huge portion of the citizens in this country, because they're Christian, not to respect, to commit a hate crime and have people, um, young people cheer it on. That's so dangerous. I don't think that they knew the implications of what was happening. I hope they didn't. They just go along. But that's a real hate crime. I believe it is. So, and and the breaches into our State Department, the breaches into the whole criminal judicial system, in El Paso, and the law enforcement community, that has to be yelled far and wide, because otherwise all of us are in danger. I mean, you have the El Paso Criminal Law Magistrate Court right now wanting their own police department. They can't have their own police department. What are they, trying to make their own army? We have separation in our country. You can't be judicial officer and have your own army. You can have security, of course. You can have your bailiff, but you can't have your own police force. Especially when your position, well, right now that MAG court has no authority because they're not elected. And from 2015 on, they should have been elected. So the El Pasoans, they really do need to get restitution. They need to get a big wad of money back. And maybe double that for all the harm that they have done. And, it might be more, because restitution could be double it or quadruple, 4 times the amount for all the injury. And to have the MAG court not be elected, to have the rights violated like that, is a national security threat. So and to have a foreign organization, and there's factions. So how many factions of the Mexican cartel are intertwined with our law enforcement and our criminal judicial system in El Paso? How many are there? And El Paso is worth fighting for. El Pasoans are worth fighting for. Our military is worth fighting for. And they are right now compromised, and absolutely security is breached, and the Medal of Honor ethos is breached, and esprit de corps is breached. Who are they loyal to? They're loyal to the El Mayo, right? Or El Chapo. I mean, El Chapo's in prison right now. El Mayo's in prison right now. But who's the next El Mayo? Who's the next El Chapo? That's who they are loyal to. That's where they have their esprit de corps to. But we need it to, Old Glory. The red, white, and blue. The stars and stripes forever. The Lone Star State. El Paso. That's where the loyalty should be. Not in a foreign organization, a criminal organization that, their main source of income is criminal trafficking of all sorts. Through using our stuff at our expense. The fuel, so you go on, you infiltrate El Paso, Fort Bliss, you get the tactical move storage units, you get the vehicles, you get the fuel, you get the passes, you get the time. Time is also money, so, whatever hands. And you don't have to get the insurance, you don't have to follow any law. It's, and then you just drive on over, you compromise the CBP, they wave you through. We know that one Ernest Christopher Grant CBP lady, we know that something really fishy there, and she's right at the border. And she's totally that's why this whole Walmart mass shooting case can't go forward, because there are so many fishy things. I mean, it is stinky things. That whole case, that is stinky. And we maintain that they put that together to divert attention from what Richard was reporting. And yeah. And don't forget that the Fiscalia tampered with Richard's file in Mexico, as well as Tavita Nusa right there at the Fort Bliss CID office. And then we had the tampering there at the district courts, county court office, a MAG court jail office. Richard's file was tampered with. How many times the Interpol was tampered with? See, where is the trust? Where is the esprit de corps? Where is the Medal of Honor ethos? Where is the rule of law? So I think that is our message today, is all the dots are being connected. There's ongoing and active investigations, so many of them. I mean, we're always having to make timelines and charts and everything to keep all of this straight. I think that Richard's case is probably one of the biggest cases, if not the largest exposure of criminal activity in the history of the United States. I believe that because I have the proof. It's like, what? And you have people all over shaking in their boots to respond, because they know that this is so big. It's just so big. So I want to say thank you so much for those that have helped us and continue to help us. And please share the music videos, because these music videos I think will help put this case together easily for the public, so that they will understand Richard's case, that they can ask questions. Then we need to be transparent in this, and and also to let everyone know that this is so dangerous. This is bigger than a Goliath, and we have to stand up to it, because they're on sand. They might seem like this huge tiger, but it's a paper tiger, right? They're on sinking sand. And that's why you see El Mayo arrested, why you see El Chapo in jail, why you see Garcia. Garcia's in jail, right? 38 years, Garcia Luna. So we've just got to keep going. This case has been broken. I told you this case has been broken. This is the wave of accountability. We're in the wave of accountability. And so you're going to see, but it's not going to be always happening the way you think, because we have this ongoing internal battle. There's an internal battle. And so as the election draws nearer and nearer, and it looks very promising for Donald Trump, what that means is that there would be a total change of administration. And, that means that different people will be held accountable, other people not, because, yeah, and I hope that makes sense. With different administrations, it's hard to say how God will play all the justice out. Um, but absolutely, it's happening now, and um, and it's going to be continuing to happen. No matter what happens in the election, it's going to continue to happen because you see, the evidence is too overwhelming and the stakes are too high. If there's no loyalty, uh, if there's no loyalty to the country, if there is no loyalty to the organizations, then the organizations will just shatter. And, that means shattering their goose that laid the golden egg, right? So I hope that makes sense. And please comment. Please absolutely correct me where I'm wrong. But Richard's case is solved. It We're just in the accountability. We're in to get his remains and to get those that brutally murdered him, code red murdered him, premeditatedly murdered him, to have them held accountable for what they did. Thank you so much. God bless you, and I will be back tomorrow, God willing. Bye bye.